Hello, and welcome to Off the Roll. I'm your host, Troy Hirschman. Well, it's not very often that we get a chance to talk to a recent national champion here on Off the Roll, but that's exactly what we're doing today. We're talking to Jon Wicks. Jon is an assistant athletic trainer at Indiana University with the football team, and he has a unique story to tell. He's one of our more younger alumni that graduated from Ball State in 2012, but has had a very interesting journey for the short time that he's been an athletic trainer. So we're going to talk to him about that. So we're going off the roll with Jon Wicks. Okay, and welcome to Off the Roll. I'm your host, Troy Hirschman, and today I'm on the youth kick again. I've got Jon Wicks. Jon's an assistant athletic trainer with football at Indiana University, and if anybody knows what that means, that Jon had an incredible experience this year, and not many of us get a chance to have that experience. So, but mostly I want to talk to Jon about his career and where he's been and what he's done and how he got started. So welcome to the podcast, Jon.
Thanks, Troy. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm excited about this. So it's my first question for all the podcast guests. I kind of seem redundant here. I keep telling people this, but so how did you get interested in athletic training? What was your inspiration?
So I was getting in late spring in my high school senior year.
Yeah. So first of all, where are you from?
I'm from just south of South Bend.
Okay.
Lived Plymouth, Lakeville area, northern Indiana.
Okay.
And I was getting late in my senior year, and I just kind of always thought I was going to be a high school teacher, coach. That was kind of going to be my route.
Yeah.
And Gary Hall said, you ever thought about athletic training? And, he helped me and some of my friends out so much throughout high school, through our sports. I just never really, kind of put that together that would be an option for me. And so he'd have some scrap tape for me and we would practice taping. He taught me how to tape, and he spent way too much time than he, probably should have. It was very appreciative. Down the road, it was great because once I got to Ball State, I, kind of had a feeling for it already. And
yeah.
But yeah, he said, you should kind of look into it. And he contacted Neil and took me down to Ball State, met Sean, met all you guys. And my parents came down. It was a really cool trip, and I had never really seen anything. My high school's small. Right. I think we had 100, maybe 130 in my class. So Gary did a really, really good job. And, I fell in love with it right away. And
right.
I remember on the ride home, I told my parents, I was like, I think this is what I'm going to do. Because sports are ever since I've been, as long as I can remember, sports is number one for, entertainment aspect, I guess. But
yeah,
my life revolves around my family, my faith, and sports. So,
yeah.
And I was not good enough to play, and not necessarily wanted to, but to, be a part of it was huge. So,
yeah. No, I think that it's for me, what I tell people is that I love sports, and I did have an affinity towards. I wanted to do something in medicine. I knew I wasn't smart enough to go to med school, but really what I wanted to do is get into stuff for free. so I could go to all the sports stuff I wanted and see all the sports I wanted, but I wanted to do it. I didn't want to pay for it, in that aspect. And we probably paid for it, 10 times over for the amount of hours and stuff that we put in. But still, it was this kind of unique mesh. And I think it's interesting that you talk about like you figured it out, like it clicked and it fit. And and it didn't take you forever to figure that out. Some people we're just blessed if that does it, because we have a lot of friends out there that are still searching to try to figure out what they're going to do with their lives,
Yeah.
and it fit for you. So
Well, and it was great that it was who I met. Gary was obviously who got me started, and then to be you guys to be the first ones I met, and I mean, I just feel like that was a huge plus on, that's who I kind of want to follow, and
right,
so
yeah, no, I think that one of the things that I got when I visited Ball State, because I had visited Indiana State and seen their program and stuff, and I was in junior college, so I was going to transfer into wherever. And when I got to Ball State, the first thing I sensed was that this is a group of people that are going to work hard, but they want to have a lot of fun too,
mm-hmm.
and um, and that this could be pretty special in that aspect. And then once I got here, probably not unlike you, is that you had this sense of family, that people are looking out for you as well,
Sure.
and um, and so that gives you a nice, you feel secure in all that, and that just helps have your experience. Not everybody has that same experience, but it does give you that sense. And I think that's probably, with Gary bringing you down and introducing you to all of us, and obviously you felt like, Gary, we always looked at people like if it's a Ball State alum person bringing them down, then we need to take care of them.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Well, that's
kind of the
definitely
way we looked at it.
the Ball State. The Ball State connection is real, and
Yeah,
you don't see that everywhere, and I don't know, it's pretty special.
yeah, it is. It truly is. So you kind of make this decision going home. Did you ever, you know, so that was what, if I remember right, that was like in the winter. Was it in the winter?
So I came down. I think it was like into going into spring.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Well, it was chilly. It was cold, but it
yeah.
wasn't dead of winter. But
Right, right. So I mean, in that time, because you were graduating that year, correct?
yes.
Yeah. So did you, like you said, hey, this is what I want to do and stuff, but were there any divergent things like, oh, well, maybe I might want to go here, or I'm thinking about going here? Had you applied to Ball State prior to coming down to visit?
No, I don't honestly remember. It was probably kind of close in the time period. Um, but my mom went to Ball State. My sister went to Ball State.
Okay.
Um, and I don't know. I don't know. I loved it. And I visited, man, I think I visited Indiana Wesleyan. But my mom kind of made me go to other places because I
Right.
was already sold,
Yeah.
and which is fair. Like, you should see other places, and but I mean, it was in my heart already. I'm going to Ball State, but
Yeah. Yeah.
so no, honestly, after that trip, it was, this is going to be my route.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. I mean, that, yeah, we're facing that with our daughter now. She's going to be a senior next year, and she's going to Ball State because of obviously the tuition remission and stuff that we get
Yeah,
from doing that. But I've asked her, like, is there a couple places that you just want to go have some fun at and go look at and
yeah,
stuff? So her grandparents went to the University of Cincinnati, so I think we're going to go down there and check that out. And I just kind of laid it on her today. I'm like, hey, do you want to take a trip to Salt Lake City and go to the University of Utah and just see what that place is like? Because I mean,
right.
I still know a few people there, and she kind of was like, I could see it mulling it over in her mind a little bit, like maybe I might want to go just see it, just take a trip and go see what it's about, type
Yeah,
thing. But yeah, and it clicked, and that's awesome. So let's talk about you. You make this decision, um, and you come on campus. Um, I know that Neil was working his magic a little bit, trying to get you involved in stuff, even when you weren't gonna, even though you were in a technical observation standpoint.
yeah,
Neil was doing what Neil does
yeah,
and was
yeah.
getting you involved. So, what do you remember about some of your first experiences with that?
Uh, so I get down there, and um, the first practice, Neil said, "Hey, why don't you come by and observe?" And of course, I was all in. So I go and I'm basically just kind of helping the students at the time, and with all the water and field setup and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. And long story short, I showed up every day to practice the entire year as an observation student. Every single practice.
I mean, technically you were observing. Technically
Yeah.
you were not observing. It's. I mean, you were still doing stuff. You're not you during that stage of Ball State athlete training education. Neil had Neil had probably you, and there was probably about 4 or 5 other ones that were kind of on this. I called it the double secret probation observation track. That they were just like there, and
Mm-hmm.
and and it meant so much because you had such a leg up on your other observation students because you were having that opportunity and you'd had some previous experience back at your high school,
Mm-hmm.
um, that um, you there was a definite more comfort level about working in the program at that point than a lot of people had. I mean, obviously you had classmates. I had classmates that were like super nervous if they were going to get in or not, and you in the back of your mind were like, I've been here every single day. I mean, as long as I go get my grades, I'm good. And you knew that, but they didn't have that advantage, and I think it gives you a little bit more confidence to know that, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm on the track, and then you can be a little bit more relaxed around Neil or myself or Sean or whatever, and just do the job. And I think that was what was cool about that in that aspect. But so do you remember? So you're at football practice every day doing observation stuff, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, did you end up doing observation any place else with anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the exact curriculum, but I had other places, we had different checkpoints that we had to
Right.
do. So, yeah, I'd go to football, go to class, and then figure out the other stuff. And it
Yeah.
was a busy year. It was a fun year.
Yeah.
Let's go back. I was nervous about getting in the program now. I tend to be a little bit of a nervous guy. So,
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess that's okay. You can be nervous. You could have been nervous. It's fine. But I don't think any of us were nervous. And there have been. I can tell you this in the past. There were meetings that you're if I remember right. It wasn't hard to convince the faculty either. I think there was probably some concern about how much involvement you had outside of the observation hours, but they always talked like that. Like they they always talked about that and an aspect of like, well, is he going to too much? Is academics going to suffer? There's always those concerns on the academic side that you're too much into it clinically and maybe something else would suffer. And I think we all felt pretty confident you were going to be able to handle that.
yeah,
And I think that if I remember right, that discussion came up, and I said he'll be fine. I mean, Sean, I think Neil said the same thing. Sean and I, we all three said he's going to be fine. Just get him in the program, okay?
yeah.
You'll be happy about that when it's all said and done. So, um, but so you get in the program. Do you remember like your first clinical assignment?
Man, well, it was crazy that before well, I don't know. I don't know if I was technically still an observation student, but I got to work the last game of the year for the MAC title against Northern Illinois, and
Okay,
because I had spent every day all season there,
right.
and Neil let me work the Gatorade cart, and I was ecstatic, right? So I think that may have been my first actual
Right.
event. Um, man, what was my? I think football was my first sophomore
It
year.
might it might have been, yeah. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
football was made because I was with JP and mostly seniors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think football was my first actual year of being an athletic training student.
Who were the graduate assistants? Do you remember who they were? I know.
Mm.
I told you this is gonna be tough.
So I think my observation years maybe was Adam
Okay.
and
Yeah.
man,
So if it was Adam,
Adam Crosby and what was the other tall guy's name?
um, see now you're gonna challenge
J,
me.
oh
Uh,
man, I feel
no,
bad. I loved him. I loved them both.
yeah. So it's Adam and Keith Dankert.
Keith,
Yes.
yes, Keith. They were great. They were
Yeah.
great. I can't remember if they were when I was observing or when I was
Yeah.
a student.
Yeah.
Apologies.
No, no, it's okay. It's believe me, you're
I don't want to make anybody feel bad if I.
no, you're not the. I mean, you when I start asking the older guys about this stuff, they're. I mean, they text me later and go, "Oh, I forgot about this person." I'm like, "It's
Right, right.
okay. Nobody's gonna hold you to trying to remember everything with this." So, um, but yeah, Keith Dankert was the other tall guy with that group, and then you had the Michelles, you had
hmm
um, Trumbull, and because Keith and Trumbull came from Toledo. You had Adam, and then I'm trying to think who else was in that.
Jen.
Yeah, Jen Skidmore, or that's yeah. I think Jen was in that group, and yeah. So there's somebody else in there, and they're gonna get mad at us for forgetting, but yeah, it's a podcast. That's what happens. So yeah. So it was football. Anything eventful happened that football season that you can remember in that clinical rotation?
It kind of cut out. Can you
Oh,
say that again?
yeah. Anything eventful happened in that clinical rotation with football?
I mean, I guess I'm trying to think of something cool and fun.
Yeah.
Um, Overall, the whole day by day or day to day operation was incredible. Um, with Sean and the Mountain Dew and the popcorn and
There we go. Yes. Awesome. Yes.
the camaraderie it was second to none. Um, I think one of the cooler points of the season was we went to play in West Point. We played at Army,
Oh yeah.
and when we're in the training room currently, and with the transfer portal, we have so many new guys every year, and you're trying to get to know people pretty quick, and so you kind of get the same questions from these guys.
Yeah.
Where you been, coolest stadiums you've been at, that kind of thing. And to this day, one of my top trips was playing at Army with Ball
Yeah.
State. That was just such a cool experience. The bus is getting searched going into the base and driving through the base, and you go through a mountain and then down a mountain into a basin where there's a concrete based football field next to a lake, and all the soldiers in their uniforms, and
Right.
that was one of the coolest trips that I've taken for everything,
Yeah.
let alone football. So um,
No, that's cool. I mean, that's a memorable event in your clinical experience because we all have those moments, and we'll talk a little bit about this later. But that's one of those moments that you look around and you're like, how did I get here?
right,
Me from little LaVille was your high school, correct?
LaVille
Yeah,
was my high school.
yeah,
Yes.
little LaVille High School. How did I get here?
hmm
And as a student, that's extremely impressionable to have that experience and stuff. And yeah, I've never been to West Point for anything, and I can only imagine what that's like to go there, particularly football, because that's obviously what they're mostly known for in that aspect.
And I'm
So
pretty sure they were pretty good that year, and
yeah,
it was bumping. It was a non-traditional answer for the coolest places you played, but that was definitely a unique experience for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So you get done working football. Um, do you remember what maybe some of the more what your other clinical rotations were from that standpoint?
It cut out again.
Oh, clinical rotations from that standpoint.
Like where I was next.
Yeah,
I had I was at I don't remember the exact order.
yeah, that's fine.
Um, I was at Yorktown with T Mac.
Yeah,
I was at Muncie Central High School. I think my senior year I was at Delta.
yep,
They're blue and yellow, right?
yep. You got
Yeah,
it. Yep,
Delta in the spring. I had a, I think I had a physical therapy rotation,
right.
um, and then the other main ones were my senior year. I was with women's basketball for the entire season,
Yeah,
and yeah, and then I guess my senior year in the spring, I was just kind of, I don't remember what we called it, but like the liaison of spring sports. I was just kind of
yeah, yeah. Something like yeah. I
in the
remember that
athletic
now.
training room. But I spent a lot of time with the tennis team because I lived
Yes, right.
with a handful of those guys. So
Yeah, you were a de facto member of the tennis team. You know,
yeah, for
there's a
sure.
long athletic training history. You know, with that. I mean, you know, Bill Richards, you know, recently retired, and we were all laughing at him like because the tennis coach before um, Bill Richards was a guy named Jim Dickerson. Jim was in the time back in the late 60s, early 70s, that if you were an athlete trainer, you weren't exclusively an athlete trainer at Ball State. You had to coach something or teach something or whatever it might
Yeah.
be. And Jim was, they needed a tennis coach, and Jim said, okay, I'll do it. And I asked Jim one day, I go, what was your record? He goes, I don't remember, but I don't think it was a winning one. so, so then they hired Bill Richards, and Bill was the tennis coach for that from 1972 on.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I do remember that you were living with all those tennis guys, and so
Quick funny story about Bill and the tennis. You know, I met some of the tennis players across the. They lived catty corner to me on my floor in my freshman year, and so
yeah,
from then on, I lived with a handful of those guys throughout college, and they're lifelong friends.
yeah,
And this coach kind of always saw me around, and if I had downtime, I just go to their practice, hang out, and
yeah,
that kind of thing. And one day, uh, my mom, huge tennis fan, so I've been a huge tennis fan my entire life. And one day after their practice, I went out there and started hitting with my roommates, and uh, I aced two of them, and then I got into a couple volleys with their number one single, and it was a complete fluke by all means. And Coach Bill was watching, and ever since then, he kind of like, all right, he could be around. It was
yeah.
weird. It was funny.
You were in.
So then he kind of knew who I was, and then would understood that I was an athletic training student, and I guess I don't know if kind of accepted me, but
Yeah,
understood who I was. But it was funny that never really knew who I was until he saw that. I mean, that was on cloud nine. It was awesome.
no, I mean I mean Bill's a. I mean, actually, I'm going to probably go to coffee with him tomorrow. I have this coffee group I go with on Friday mornings, thanks to a guy named Dr. Warren Vanderhill, who sadly passed away about a year and a half ago. Was the longtime provost at Ball State, but was a huge basketball guy, and so he would come to practices and stuff. And I took care of Dr. Vanderhill um, when I was a student at Ball State because he loved Tony and would come in and we do Tony took care of Dr. Vanderhill and President Worthen um, from their tennis matches. Speaking of tennis,
Mm-hmm.
they'd have these competitive tennis matches and get hurt, and then go see Tony. And when I was a student at Ball State, Dr. Vanderhill would come in and we'd treat him, and we get to know each other. Well, he's a big fly fisherman and knew people at Utah that helped me get out to grad school at Utah. But this coffee group is all the old coaches and like Dave Land, Jerry Pearson, and John Worthen. John Worthen's still around. John comes to coffee. Neil Smotlock, who used to run the geriatric exercise science program. He kind of is the ringleader of the coffee group, but Bill will get in there, and since he's been retired, he's still connected to he's still kind of a de facto emeritus tennis coach. But Coach O is obviously the head coach there now, and um, it's just funny because he still talk, like he'll slip up and go, yeah, my team my team
Right.
didn't play well today or whatever. And then he'll kind of correct himself. Oh yeah, well, not my team, but but Bill's just been an institution and seen so much. And I used to tell him, I go, honestly, you should be the athletic director because you know so much and you know so many people. And so he goes, I don't want that job. There's too much. He goes, I get fired the first day because I would go off on somebody and they would probably call me in and say, you can't do that. And he goes, I wouldn't be very political.
Yeah.
And
He's
I
a good at it.
honestly
He's a
believe that
legend.
because he's just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so talk to me a little bit about, um, talk to me a little bit about your women's basketball experience because you were with them for the whole season. You got to hang out with Casey. I mean, I can't think of a, a a better situation for somebody with your personality type to get a chance to have that experience because I love Casey to death. I mean, we used to laugh about. I've only really had one work spouse, and it was Casey Galoy. I've had lots of females that I've worked with, but Casey was one of them that I could go back and forth with, and know there were probably not going to be any consequences, whatever, with that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
So it's funny, as you know, as a student, uh, Casey was incredible. Loved her. I would have liked to have had a little bit more of that uh, adult relationship because I could tell like she was cool. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
She taught me a lot, and going into it, it was it was a little different. I had never really done anything like that before,
right,
and a room full of female athletes, and it was definitely kind of a not a challenge, but it was just something new,
yeah,
and I ended up really enjoying it.
yeah,
We I got a little bit of your world with the the basketball travel, and thankfully I didn't go to all of them, but
right,
somehow I went to a lot of almost probably I think pretty much most of the road
right,
games, which was
yeah,
really cool. Um, I was in a couple classes with some of the players, so it was kind of a little study hall on the road a lot of times. Um, but I enjoyed it. It was a really cool experience.
yeah. There is definitely uh, a you're out of your comfort zone a little bit when you're a male working a female sport. I, I think a female working a male sport is I don't want to say easier, but there's more of a translation in what the expectations are. But when you're a male working a female sport, um, you definitely feel the 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 barriers that you want to be professional. You want to be somebody that's helpful without like um, crossing the line, so to speak. If you're really a professional, you're doing that. And I remember when I went to Utah, my first year there, I was like had this wall up. Basically, I was like, I'm going to do this. We're going to do this in the aspect of how we handle things and whatever. And so in the gym that we had at Utah, there was a cage. It was actually an old gym, like an old PE gym. And there was like those cages that like when you went, I don't know if LaVille had this, but you had where you'd store stuff in these cages and
Sure.
stuff. They
Yep.
literally had these cages in the gym. And so they had created a locker room / training room
Oof.
out of one half of these cages. So I would be taping gymnasts and trying to be super professional about all this stuff. And they would be over there changing for practice. And they literally terrorized me by saying, Troy, and I'd look and they're half naked over there laughing their asses off because I would get so red and so mad, and then I had to learn like these are like 13 of my little sisters, and they're just messing with me, and I can still have a professional relationship, but I can still have a little bit of fun in a way that there's still a professional barrier, but um, there's a I don't have to be so uptight all the time, and I think that's the thing is trying to learn that balance when you're a male working a female sport is extremely
It kind
important.
of worked out. Or I guess it did. Like I was their same age as a student,
Yeah,
and so it was just kind of like classmates to me,
yeah,
and they were fun. Like the locker room setting, in a sense, not the real locker room, but
right,
you know,
exactly. Yeah,
they were. They'd banter with me, I'd banter back, and
right.
one thing you learn is every sport, a locker room culture is every single one has one, and um, I had fun. It was a fun experience, and so
Yeah. No, I think that that I I valued. I mean, I worked softball my first sport at Ball State, so um, but I wasn't like the full. I wasn't. That was back when we all traveled without supervision, no supervides. I mean, it was it, and I didn't get. I mean, it was the last half of softball season that I ended up just doing it myself, and
mhm.
but even then, I was too immature to understand like this is really fun, and as long as I'm like you said, they were students just like me, so I didn't I didn't understand that you can be a professional and have some fun at the same time because I just didn't, I'm like you said they were fun and it was different and whatever, but I didn't really know how to treat or work with female athletes until I went to Utah and work gymnastics
Mhm.
and all the other stuff that goes along with that. It's sometimes with guys, and you can attest to this probably, is that guys kind of they handle situations differently from an emotional standpoint where females are totally different. And sometimes it's not just about whatever's going on with them physically in a female athlete. They just want somebody to unload. And the
Mhm.
athletic trainer is the easiest person to do that sometimes. So
Mhm.
if you understand that working female sports, then you'll probably get along just fine. And
Yeah.
you're not trying to fix anything. You're just sitting there listening. So yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So you're at Ball State. You're kind of doing your clinical experiences, going and doing all this stuff your senior year, and you have to make a decision what to do next. So
Yeah.
what's next?
That's kind of a trending scenario. Getting late into spring, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I had heard from Neil early in my senior year that Rex Sharp is down at Missouri. Um, so the entire year that was kind of in the back of my head, but I just never really kind of heard much. And every once in a while, I'd ask him about it, and he said, "Oh yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll be fine." Get to spring, yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Finally, it's getting crunch time, and
Right.
I applied to. Well, I went to. So I did the 2 summers with the Colts,
Right.
and um, got to work with their staff for 2 years, and or 2 summers, and then work home games. And so I had connections through them too, and I took an interview with Arkansas football.
Okay.
Um, I think that was my only. That might have been my only other interview. My only interview actually,
Yeah.
because I didn't. I'm not sure if I did an interview with Rex. I can't even remember. I think I did. Anyways, so
There was probably some kind of conversation that happened.
conversation for sure. I don't remember if
Yeah.
I went all the way out there because that I do remember the last time that I met him for the first time or it was an interview was the last time I was clean shaven. 2012.
There you go. There you go. It's been a while.
It's
Yeah.
been a long time. But yeah, so we're getting closer. And then Neil said, hey, we want to get on a call with Rex Sharp down at Missouri and Mizzou.
Yeah.
And, they were in the Big 12 going into the SEC for the first year. And I kind of always had hopes that was going to be the move. I just, nothing was really moving.
Right.
And just kind of held on to it, and it worked out. Talked to Rex, and he hired me.
Yeah. That again, you were you might have been the last Ball Stater to go. Was there anybody after you
To go to Missouri?
Yeah.
No.
You were it.
No, I don't think so.
Derek Decker.
I think there was a student that came in as a student came in for track.
Might have been it might have been Derek Decker.
Oh yes, I do remember. Yes, I remember that.
You're not the last one. Well, what a way to end it.
I do remember. I remember that because I was gone when he came in.
Yeah, because he was there with Andrea Lampy and was Flounder there at Missouri.
Flounder was there. Flounder, my guy.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and so what are you doing at Mizzou?
I get to Missouri and I'm not enrolled. He just said, show up, and he gave me the number of Duncan, his second year grad student. Hey, he said, meet up with Duncan and stay with them and come in and we'll get started. And so I showed up to Duncan's house and knocked on the door, and he goes, hey. I said, are you Duncan? Yeah. Hey, I'm Jon Wicks. Okay. I said, Rex told me to show up. I'm the new intern. And he goes, oh, I heard the name, but I didn't know you were coming today, that kind of thing. And that's just how we all work. But Duncan was great. All of the GAs at the time were great. And I spent the first semester as an intern. If I remember correctly, I wasn't in school yet. So I was actually there for 2.5 years, I think. So I was kind of a intern role for the first semester.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, again, the amount of bravery that you had to trust.
Leap of faith, man.
The leap of faith of trusting the fact that Neil was setting all this up with Rex, and Rex is like, okay, well, I mean, all right, so a parallel. So I'm a transfer student from Vincennes, coming up to Ball State. They had never had a transfer student at all. I show up at football practice, and I'm just trying to do things to help out and whatnot. And I asked Neil, and Neil was probably still getting his athlete training hours at the time to be certified. I said, what do you, I'm in. What do you think you're going to do with me? And Neil goes, I don't know. We'll talk, it'll be up to Rex and Tony. And so I just come in and show up to Ball State, not even knowing what I'm going to do from a clinical standpoint. Rex had originally, when I met with him when I got on campus, he said, I might put you at swimming, but I think they need some help at softball. Let me check this out. And I just did whatever they told me to do, and hope it would work out. And so that parallel to like, hey, I just need you to show up and go knock on this guy's door, and you can stay with him, and then we'll figure it out as we go along. A lot of people would not be cool with that. And you were.
Yeah. Well, and Neil and then Rex, very similar in that aspect. And I don't know, just I have a big trait of that myself
Yeah.
from being with them, kind of just we'll make it work type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was I trusted them, and I'll try. I trust them for anything
Yeah.
forever.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of it. I mean, there's been, I can't tell you how many times um, that, and that's what I've learned from Neil, is that, you know, this is where we want to go. And, um, but we don't know how to get there yet. There's a lot of moving parts. We talk about that a
Mm-hmm.
lot, moving parts. Um, and a lot of times Sean and I would get frustrated, like
Yeah.
how are we going to get to this place? And we don't know how to get there. And Neil's talking about all these moving parts and nobody knows where Neil's at on this or whatever. And yet we would get there. We
Mm-hmm.
would get, like, you would eventually enroll in grad school and get your master's degree and do great things. And so
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, is like you said, it takes a lot of faith that you trusted it, because it was another Ball State guy that was in charge, he wasn't gonna leave you hanging out to dry. Basically, is what it came down to,
Yeah.
and you had to trust that, and
Yeah.
that was it, and it paid off in the end. And
100%.
yeah,
I lit my closet and bedroom was their garage for the first few months. But you know what? I loved it.
yeah,
That's where I met Nick Antonelli, one of my closest friends from
yes,
since I ever met him, and um, yeah, I mean it was. I don't know if it's a hodgepodge, but that is what it is.
well,
Get there, and we'll make it work.
yeah, and I think Rex always had a great, um, has had a great, he can read people,
Oh, he's
and
got a pulse on people.
right,
From
and
I
he
don't
can,
think it takes very long of a conversation to where
yeah, yeah,
he kind of
like
knows.
he knows, like, you're in, and I can depend on this person, and I have faith, in knowing that they can do it. Now he would tell you it's not been 100%, but
Yeah.
the ones that are the ones that he cares about, the ones that he is proud of, are those type of people that are kind of like, hey, I can come in, I'm going to work my butt off, because I think that's what he was. I'm going to work
Hmm.
my butt off, and as long as I work my butt off, it'll all work out. I'll get taken care of. And I think that's the thing. That's why it worked for me,
Yeah.
because I didn't know him better. I just was going to come in, and I had a little bit of experience too, and I was just going to come in and just let it happen, because I went to softball. You know, I could, maybe I'm going to be in women's athletics for my entire time at Ball State. I don't know, but
Hmm.
I trust that Rex and Tony and Neil are going to take care of me, and they did.
Have
And
you had Rex on?
yes, I've got Rex is on the podcast. Yeah, I need to do a part two. Um,
I need to listen to that. I
yeah,
didn't.
oh
I
yeah,
didn't do that.
it's really good, because he talks a lot about, he talks a lot about, where how he went to, he was a teacher in New Albany, and decided to go to, he went to Ball State kind of like on a whim too. I mean, it was all
Hmm.
because of Bruce Scott and Glenn Snow and a little bit of that too. And he goes to Northern Michigan. You would think that as a GA at Northern Michigan was like the hinterlands, but his cousin was like the head athletic trainer up there. And, he did a lot of stuff that on just faith that it was going to work out as well. And it
Hmm.
did. I mean, Northeast Missouri. I mean, you go to Northeast Missouri. Um, it was a good job, but I mean, were you going to stay there for the rest of your career? You don't, fortunately, Ball State came open, and there were people that Jim Dickerson particularly said, hey, you need to talk to this guy, and it goes on from there. But
Yeah.
very similar. I mean, again, I think he had, like you said, he reads people, and people that are similar in his kind of approach and philosophy. He's gonna take care of, and you can go right
Sure.
down the line on all the people that he's done that with, and
Yeah.
um, it's it's pretty incredible on his part that he can read people like that. But it's just the guy that he is, and so
Yeah.
and that's why I think all of us knew that Missouri was going to, even though we had to wait a little bit, Missouri was going to be a good fit for you.
Yeah. And it was perfect.
Yeah.
My favorite story. Well, we had so much fun at Missouri.
Well,
With
you're always
Casey
going to have
and
fun.
all them. I mean, we have so many stories, but the first one, the first main joking point, with all the banter and stuff. We're at practice, and one of the players rolls his ankle, and I'm right next to him, and so I get him up, and he's got his arm around me, and we're hobbling over to the sideline. I take him over to Rex, and what happened? I said, this is my first time ever. Like, this is my thing, right? For Rex. This is early in camp. And this is what happens. I get up there and I say, pop, ankle popped. And Rex is just like, what? So he takes him over and looks at him and all that kind of thing. And so that was a long running joke since I left until I left, that
Ankle pop.
ankle popped. Yeah, they had a lot of fun with that one for a long time.
He would. So the thing was, when we were out football in 1990, is that we had this mix of it was all guys for the first time ever, and the longest time it was all guys, no girls, and so things were a little bit looser on a lot of things out of football that year because there were no girls out there. But the funniest thing I remember is that one of our younger students came over to him and was trying to be like, hey, this is, what are you, this is this. I'm looking at basically this walk-on kid comes in, and I forget who it was, but they're evaluating him, and they're like, hey, Rex, this kid said he did this, and da 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 da. What do you make out of this? Rex looks at him and goes, I don't know. Hat, broached, pterodactyl, he doesn't say R, please. And Tony and Neil are over there rolling, laughing. This kid's trying to be like super serious, and,
Right.
and Rex just totally mocks him. And the kid just sit there because he didn't get the airplane joke. That's right. What it was. But
right.
but that was, that was the whole thing. It was meant to be loose like that. If you got abused by Rex a little bit, that was a good thing. That meant that
100%.
he did like you.
100%.
If he didn't pay attention to you, then yeah, he wasn't going to pay attention to you. So that's okay. If you got joked on, you got made fun of on that one, he liked you. He liked that. So yeah, there it is.
Thought it was fun.
There is. I tell you what. I can't. All I can tell you is that there is a secret podcast out there that was done at the Speedway a couple of years ago. That there are some tremendous stories that were shared. That is not for public viewing or listening. That you would roll laughing.
Oh man!
Because you had probably seen a version or heard a version of that in your time at Missouri of something very similar. So I would
have loved to have been a part of that.
The famous one is I think the famous one that was told was when Dave Jessup forgot to pack the pre-wrap for the Toledo trip, and they had to they open up the trunk and there's no pre-wrap in there, and all those guys are, and then Dave was like sitting in the parking lot, I guess, when they came back from the road trip, and Dave sitting in the parking lot, and Rex was just like, F you, Dave. So and what Rex said, he goes, after that, I packed the trunk. Nobody else packed the trunk. Yeah, it was it. So you did your time at Missouri, go on and get your degree and stuff. So you're out looking for jobs right now. So what are you looking for? What are you trying to find? Who are you talking to?
So my ultimate goal at that point was to do I did the 2 summer internships with the Colts,
Right.
which is just athletic training student camp. And then since I was local, I got to work home games, which was awesome.
Right.
Um, I wanted the role of the year-long interns, or the Colts called them the season-long because they were there for 2 years. I wanted that position. I wanted to be NFL because I knew I probably wasn't going to get the job that I wanted out of grad school.
Right.
Um, Probably being a little selfish, but I also kind of wanted to get back to the league at that point.
Right.
And um, it wasn't quite as late as the other two scenarios, but it was spring and really no direction on on where I was going.
Yeah.
And Casey Hairston, um, one of my other mentors, he was Rex's assistant at the time.
Yeah.
He did an internship with the Carolina Panthers. I think exactly, I want to say 8 to 10 years before, or 8 to 10 years at the time ago.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Um, and he reached out, and I had a call with Kevin King, their assistant, and was blessed to be offered to go to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So, what was your official position there with the Panthers then?
It was just a year-long
Yeah.
athletic training intern, I guess.
Yeah. And then, I mean, anything that you kind of remembered from that season that kind of left an impression on you as you're kind of progressing through this a little bit? I mean,
Oh man, I mean, everywhere I've been, I've learned so much, and in such a different manner. Um, everybody's different. Every
yeah.
staff is different. Every culture is different. And up until this point, every culture had been great. And Carolina was the same thing. It was awesome. Ryan Vermillion was the head athletic trainer at the time, and you talk about a guy that can run a ship. I mean, he
Yeah.
was incredible. He was really good. And Sherm, his assistant, and JB, the PT at the time, and then Kevin was the other assistant, and he's who hired me, or at least who I talked to, and he's who I spent day to day, day in and day out with,
Right.
and he was incredible human being, incredible athletic trainer, very involved in the athletic training world. Very blessed to have been able to spend that time with him.
Yeah.
He's a machine, workhorse. But so I spent a lot of time with him, and it was that staff, and then me, and then Alex Lane, the other intern, came in for just a little bit shorter. It was the seasonal intern. So it was a lot of work. It was,
Yeah.
it was go set up the field, come back, get a quick breakfast, do treatments, go back, finish setting up the field, come back, work the walkthrough, go to practice, and then come in, do treatments, go out, break down practice, and then coming in the evening and restock everything. I mean, it was brutal, but also one of the coolest years that I've ever had as an athletic training, I guess, in my career.
Yeah. No, I mean, it truly is, at that level, it is complete and utter dedication to getting the job done. And that's where, I mean, the that's what I saw with the Eagles when I was there was, you are, a lot of people say, oh, well, you're just giving your whole life to that, and you're in it. Yeah. I mean, and you're probably working longer than you're sleeping for sure, on a lot of things, but there's so many things that you can learn. I would guarantee you that if I asked you, more specifically about what you learned. It wasn't, you learned a lot about athletic training stuff, but you learned about how organizations are run. You learned
Mm-hmm.
about how athletes are handled in the professional setting.
Mm-hmm.
You learned about uh, uh, how to, if you had to get somebody better in 3 days, how you were going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot more that goes into that than just treatment or diagnostic testing or any of that stuff. There's a lot that goes into that, and I think that's I guess the thing about it is that, and from what I learned in the at the professional setting, is that the sense of urgency in how you treat your athletes absolutely matters. It
Oh,
does.
100%.
Yeah.
But it
If
was it
you
was definitely a transition of you're working with grown men. They have
Yeah.
families. They have, they're not necessarily looking for advice on things ever, or,
Right.
you're not trying to be a mentor
Yeah.
aspect of athletic training.
Yeah.
But it was an incredible team. It was an incredible staff. Um, it was a really, really cool experience.
Good. Yeah.
What I will say to, I guess, any athletic training students is that's where you find out the sacrifices.
Yeah.
So I'm from or Lakeville, Indiana, Plymouth, Indiana, and I missed a lot of stuff, family wise, friends, weddings, things like that. And I'll tell you, I don't want to say rock bottom because it wasn't rock bottom. Thankful for technology. On Christmas Day, I was the only person in the building with Alex, uh, stocking and getting ready for the next day.
Yeah.
And I was on FaceTime with my family when they were doing Christmas.
Yep.
And it was just like there's a moment of what am I doing? You know? But
Yeah.
it all pays out.
Yeah, no,
It all
and
pays off.
yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, I tell people that in my 30 years of college athletics, I worked every single holiday. That means Fourth of July, summer
Mm-hmm.
basketball workouts on the Fourth of July, Easter coverage on spring events if I was at St. Joe or not St. Joe, but Indiana State or something like that I had to cover. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. I don't know how many Thanksgivings I missed for basketball practices or
Right.
whatever. And then 2019, I'm in Hawaii, which a lot of people are like, "Oh, you get to go to Hawaii," but it was Christmas Day, and we're playing in the last place game of a basketball tournament,
Right.
taping guys at 5 o'clock in the morning in the hotel because we're tip off at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
So that it can play at 4:30 p.m. on the East Coast.
Right.
But you do, and that's the thing about it. You learn a lot about those things, and there is a payoff, and again, that's kind of what you're seeing now, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the payoff with that. So, all right, so from the Panthers, we move on to where?
Panthers move into the tougher time of my career. I think I finished in, I don't know, I want to say sometime around April, mid-April. I can't remember exactly. Trying to find a job,
Right,
and that was brutal. Um, I had some phone interviews. I applied to every single football position that was out there, really.
right,
And I was going for at that point. I was, I want to go bigger school,
right. Yeah,
and so I'm just trying for those, and um, was at home, um, which, and I guess silver lining, I got to spend a lot of time with my friends and family that I hadn't for a while. Um, but just job searching, and I get a call from Indiana for a clinical assistant spot. And at that point, or before that, I was thinking, I'm ready for an assistant. I want to be staff.
right,
And realistically, that didn't look like it was going to happen. And so, it's Big Ten football. I'm 3 hours from home. It's a no brainer. Like, I got to take this. and so I had a phone interview, and I was offered the job.
Yeah. Yeah. So that clinic. So in your role as a clinical assistant, you weren't necessarily. Were you not? Were you traveling? Were you not traveling? Were you
Yeah,
most?
I was same thing as kind of with the Panthers, or as a graduate as student, I guess. I was considered staff, but not like on full time. I had benefits. It was split through a grant with his name's Dr. Port. So I did some concussion study or research with him. It was eye tracking
Mm-hmm.
concussion research, and that was part of it. So, but it was 95% basically an assistant with football or an intern, whatever you want to say, and then every once in a while we do some research stuff with eye tracking. So
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of a split, like you said, a grant position, but it's kind of a split position between academics and athletics.
I was full bore football.
Yeah. Yeah. So that then the opportunity comes up that you can eventually be on staff, correct?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so
So the
so
first
how
year,
long how long how long were you in this clinical assistant football
it was
position?
a year,
Just a year.
um, and then I became I was offered the assistant spot after that year.
Yeah. Well, again, testament to you hanging in there, having a little faith,
Those
right?
the first couple of years there were brutal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a toxic place, man.
Yeah. 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 Well, I mean, and again, I think there's some learning aspects to that as well. Is that you're going to learn a lot of things about yourself. Number one.
Hmm.
Number two, um, just um, just the standpoint of you saw the NFL, so you knew how things were run well, and then you come in and you're in a place where maybe things aren't run well, and how can I survive in this environment, and how can I
Hmm.
make a contribution, and whatever that goes along with those things, and I think that's the athlete trainers are built for some of that stuff, just because we have to be resilient. We have to be resilient for our athletes. um, I know there's a lot of big push out there about athlete taking care of yourself, and I get that. But at the end of the day, that's your job, is
Yeah,
to take care of your athletes. And so, um, in the end, if you can keep that in your focus, then you can still take care of yourself, but also do what you need to do to survive. So,
I
um,
struggled. I got in honestly got into a kind of a dark place there a couple times, and thankfully I had a strong core group of the two assistants at the time, um, Colin and Mike,
yeah,
and then two other interns, Ryan and Nick. We were close, man, and
yeah.
that helped a ton. That was you
This
got
is
to
the
keep
John
going.
Coddington section of the podcast.
What's that?
Yeah, this is the John Coddington section of the podcast.
Yeah, Mowgli, come on.
You got dogs barking.
He's about to get the zoomies. Come here, sit down.
It's okay. Stacy Struble on her podcast had her dog in there. It was fine. Yeah. Another South Bend. My goodness, how many South Bend people have I had on the podcast? I mean, I've got Lintic, I got you now, Stacy Struble, Coddington. I mean, yeah, go down the line. I got tons of them. Let's go. Give me the South Bend Ball State off the roll podcast. That's what I
I
should. I need a
love it.
section. Yeah, exactly. So let's talk a little bit. And again, you talk to me as the questions. I'm not going to go into super details, but um, the last 2 years have been like a ride of a lifetime. Am I correct in saying that? I
A
mean,
dream.
yeah. I mean, it has been something truly special, and um, a lot of times um, when we're in those moments as athletic trainers, we're so nose to the grindstone, you know, um, work. We got to do this. Still got our jobs to do and stuff, that we don't take a moment to take a deep breath and look around and go, wow. So talk to me a little bit about um, this season from that standpoint, in the aspect of, when did you feel like, hey, this could be something really cool?
Uh, so you kind of mentioned about, you need to probably cut this part out. I kind of lost my train of thought, but um, I want to talk about. So Kyle Blackman came in as the head football athletic trainer my second year, and he was one of the best things that's happened in my career.
Okay.
He came from the Washington Redskins at the time, the Commanders now, and um, he is incredible at his job. Um, Came in at a really rough time with Indiana football, and I say I was going through it. That man was going through it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he stuck through, and he has built an incredible culture for Indiana football sports medicine. And we talk about, when your record's not great, it's hard to not get complacent. And
Yeah.
with Kyle, it's incredible that our standard, it doesn't matter if we're 0-12 or we're 16-0.
Yeah.
We're giving the athletes the best care possible. We're doing everything we can. And we did that. And so Kyle and I have been through a lot together, and then we brought Jacob and other. We've had some turnaround here at assistants, and we've had Mac here for a long time, but um, we've had a pretty solid run here. And going into our third coaching change, it's Coach Sig from JMU, and you just don't know, going into a new coaching situation, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
Don't know. And to your question of when did I know, I tend to jump the gun a little bit. I get excited about things. Um, I felt pretty quickly when he showed up that things were different.
Yeah.
Just being at Indiana for so long, it was something that I had never seen before. And I didn't know what that meant, but I said, I don't know. It was definitely a different culture in a good way. I guess the first time I thought, man, we're different would be, it's hard because we beat we beat a lot of teams pretty bad early in our first year.
Yeah.
Um, that's kind of hard to put a pinpoint on it, but
Yeah. But there's, at some moment you're like, oh, okay. I guess I guess we're going to be all right in this aspect.
yeah,
I mean, for the general fan, to me it was
I
it
guess
was
for a game aspect, when we beat
yeah,
Nebraska our first year by 50, when they were saying that we were going to get beat,
yeah,
that was a moment where, as a football team, I was like, okay,
yeah,
we're a legit team.
yeah, yeah. How does that? I mean, I've often said that, and I think as it's been said before, is that winning is probably the best treatment that I could ever come up with.
Uh,
I mean,
when
I
you're
mean,
when you're in
everybody's
week when you're in week 8, 9, 10, 11, and you're 2, 3, 4, and whatever,
right.
guys don't want to practice, and
Oh yeah,
it's tough.
yeah, yeah,
It's tough.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
And
winning
the
is the
culture's
best medicine for everything.
bad, and
Yep.
yeah, and you're like you, I think it's cool that you mentioned that about Kyle. Like I've always said that wins and losses don't affect athletic training or sports medicine. They
Now, and if they do, then you got something's wrong.
right. So you're like you said, you're going to give them the best treatment, no matter if you're 2-10 or 12-0.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're 12-0,
Stakes are higher.
your job is just a little bit easier with that.
Yeah, it's easier, but stakes are higher. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is, and we all try to, I think, make the best clinical decisions we can make for the best outcome for that particular person and stuff. And I've always admired. That's the one thing I think I learned from Rex early on was, and going back to that is that um, at the end of the day, there you try to have to sort out like um, how it affects the team and a little bit of wins and losses, even though we say wins and losses don't affect what we're doing. It does matter.
it does, but we still got to like our goal is to win as
Yeah.
well. It's not like we're gonna push the edge as much as we can to
Oh yeah. Yeah.
we're gonna put them in the position that we want to win games too. We don't,
Right. Yeah. At the same time, you're still thinking about like what you talked about with the Panthers. These people are, they're gonna have families and um, kids, and they're gonna have careers and stuff, and so you're trying to balance that out a little bit in the aspect of not trying to make the best clinical decisions you can for those people. And I think that's the thing is that if you, like you said it, if you come from the perspective that you're going to do the very best job with those people for their best interests with that, both in the current moment and beyond, and that care that you provide, then you're always going to be doing the right thing.
mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing. I remember this is my story I tell. In fact, I told this story the other day. So I get to Eastern Hancock, my first football game. I mean, I'd been there like 2 days. First football
Mm-hmm.
game. Have this offensive lineman that sprains his ankle, and I went right into my college athletic trainer mode. I'm like, all right, we're gonna, it's Friday night, pretty significant ankle sprain. I'm bringing you in tomorrow. We're gonna treat you in the morning. We're gonna treat you at noon. We're gonna treat you at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And he looks at me and goes, Troy, I have a pig show to go to tomorrow. All right, I'm not coming in and doing any treatment. So you need to figure out a way that I can do something and go to my pig show. And I
Sure.
went, okay. so
Yeah.
so different, but we needed him. He was one of our senior offensive linemen. And that's what we did. We figured out like, all right, I want you to do this at this time. When you're done, when you're not showing pigs, you're putting ice on this. You're in a boot. I will see you on Monday.
Yeah.
Because again, he wasn't going to come in on Sunday either. Now I have brought people in on Sundays, but
Yeah.
that's the thing is that the care that you provide in each situation is going to be the best care that you can provide for that particular person. And whether you're at Indiana national champion Indiana University or you're at little podunk Eastern Hancock, if you do that, then you've done your job. And I
Yep.
think that's the thing that I
It
think
goes a
is
long way in your, satisfaction of your career and also with relationships with who you're working with. It goes lifelong. Like they'll never forget you.
yeah, yeah. That's what I think's been cool for you this year is that those you are forever connected to your team. Like this team, like my girls when I won 2 national championships at Utah, I still talk to those girls. I still
Mm-hmm.
I had them. They would we're getting to the point now where they would ask me questions about their kids because I'm still their athletic trainer,
Right.
and that's what's cool about all this is that teams come and go in your careers. You're young enough that you're gonna have that, but you're
Mm-hmm.
forever connected to this team, and I think that's what's so cool about all this is that um, you're gonna have those memories for a lifetime because
Mm-hmm.
of that, and you know I've talked to Cal Gill about it. I've talked to other groups that have won national championships with their teams, and those teams are special. They just are. I mean, even Tony's the 1990 team that went to the Sweet 16. All those guys love Tony Cox. They do. I
Yeah.
mean, just because that's what it was, and I think that's what's cool for you. It'll be interesting when you're already starting it up anyway, and you've got different people coming in and out and stuff like that, and you're trying to figure some of that out as well. Um, but you'll always be that you're always going to be connected to that team, and you may have another couple of national championships in you.
I hope so.
But that will be the one team that you'll just really connect with. So
Yeah. And we, it was weird. We won the title and we came back the next morning or next day, I guess, and got home. And the following day we had workouts with the transfers and freshmen.
Yeah.
It was absurd. Like, it was insane. And so then we didn't see all those guys, the guys that were leaving for the draft or just graduated or that kind of thing. So we just had our pro day recently. And when those guys started showing up again, it was different. The hugs, everything. It was different.
Yeah. 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 What'll be really cool for you, and I'll tell you this right now, will be cool for you is that 5 years from now, you're going to be they're going to bring that team back and stuff. And the coolness of, if you're still there, who knows, you may have aspirations to move on too. We don't know, you don't know, maybe you do know, I don't know, but the fact, if you're still there, those people will come back, and it'll be like the day after the national championship game all over again. I mean, that's the thing, is that it's so, and then you get to catch up on what they've been doing. If you're not watching them on Sunday, but yeah.
I've never been more invested in a draft my entire life. I'm usually really invested, but I mean, I'm really excited for these guys.
Yeah. And the ins and outs of it. That's the other thing too, because you're a professional experience. You, as a year-long intern, you had to work with a lot of that stuff, I'm sure, anyway. And so, yeah, that's cool. I think it's so cool that I will say this: I've been very proud of you, and how you've handled everything this year. I mean, I'm watching you on TV, and you are extremely professional, but having a great time doing it. And I think that's super cool that we don't forget why we all got involved in this. And that's why we talk about this. That's why I do this podcast. I want people to understand that as an athletic trainer, there's a lot of long hours, and sometimes there's even low pay, but in the end of the day, we all do it because we love sport and we want to be part of winners, and you've had the unique experience of being at the top of all this and riding that ride. I mean, that's the thing. My national championship experience in 94, when we won in Salt Lake City, that was a special moment. But in 95 at Georgia, when nobody thought we could do it, just like you, nobody thought we could do it. Georgia or Alabama was going to win the national championship. We're just there window dressing, and we come in and we pull off at the time, women's gymnastics, we pull off the greatest shocker that ever happened, because nobody expected us to be there. Nobody expected us to win. Nobody expected us to do anything. And we ended up winning it all. And there's something really special about that.
Yeah. It's kind of settled in. Every once in a while I'll think about it or see something on TV, and it's like, we really did that. we won just about every trophy you can, and at Indiana, and it's wild, man.
Yeah, it is wild. No, it's absolutely wild, because those of us that have been around saw, like what you talked about, the dark times, the times that that it was bad. It was really, really bad. I mean, I mean, even to the point where Ball State felt like, hey, we can beat Indiana. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how bad it was. But again, it wasn't in our, it was a, I mean,
Just to be a just to be a part of not just winning a national championship, that's history, but to go undefeated for the first time since I think they said it was Navy or something in 1800s or something like that,
yeah,
and then to win all those trophies and for Coach Sig to do it in 2 years
2 years. Yeah.
and to see the Indiana alum and the Hoosier Nation. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I didn't even know we were the uh, have the most alum in the nation
Oh yeah.
until we got to the playoff,
Yeah.
and it showed because every playoff game it was mostly red,
Yeah.
and it was wild. It was
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, again, that's the moment you look around and go, how the heck
Oh
did I
man,
get here?
I'm telling you, man. When I walked on the national title field for the warm ups, and my parents were up on one side, and my younger brother, I got him a ticket, and he was pretty low on one side, and
Yeah.
to say that I think over under cried that entire day was
Yeah.
probably 11.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, that's awesome. All right. Well, I think you actually you handled my last question about what I if you had any advice for young athletic trainers. I think you took care of that earlier on in the podcast. So I'm not gonna ask you that again. But I really appreciate you coming on and again, this is about you and your experiences and stuff like that. Um, and I think you've had a really cool experience so far. I see a lot more cool experiences for you in the future because not just of where you're at, but of who you are at your core, and that is somebody that's going to come in and have a great personality, know how to connect with people, and work hard. And your future is bright, John. It really is, and I want to point that out to you. And doing this podcast was as your bravery to trust me that I'm not going to ask you, hey, what about this or what about that? I'm not going to do that. No,
yeah.
that's not what this was about. It's about you, and I think that's what's cool. Um, so if you have anything else to say it now.
No, I really appreciate it. This was fun.
Yeah,
And yeah, it was really cool.
it was good. It was good to hear some good Rex stories too. Yeah. We need that. You'll have to
100%.
listen to Rex's podcast, but yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we've gone off the roll with Jon Wicks. I want to thank Jon for being a guest on the podcast. It was great to talk to him and hear his story. He certainly has had a lot that he's done and really took a leap of faith for a lot of those positions and hoping that they were going to work out. And I think that's an admirable quality to have, that faith, to know that you can bet on yourself and have some opportunities kind of land your way, despite what it looks like on the front side of things. And Jon's a hard worker and very knowledgeable, and I think that really shined through in all that he's done in his athletic training career. So again, if you want to give us some feedback on this podcast, you can do it at Off the Roll Pod 1 on X, or Off the Roll Podcast at gmail.com, or my personal Facebook page, Troy Hirschman. Just look me up. I'm there. And let us know what you think. Again, I'm really working hard on trying to get some good guests in here, and hopefully my other jobs will allow me to, they're ending, so they're allow me some more time to try to get some more people on here and have some more conversations. So I really appreciate all that you do for you when you listen. and really appreciate if I do get some feedback, the feedback that you give me. So thanks a lot, and we'll catch you later.